What's up, fellows? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today I wanted to show you how to import your own 3D models into Scratch. So first of all, this is all the tools you need on screen right here. First you need Blender, so we're gonna head onto the blender.org site, which is down in the description below. Then we download Blender. Just download the newest version, it doesn't really matter. The key is just that you have to export your 3D model as an OBJ file later, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then you need Magica Voxel, which you can get on this site. This is also linked in the description down below. You need to download the newest version of it. So here we are in Blender. I've made this Honda S2000 model for my game. And I'm using this as an example because I think it's getting a little bit boring if I only ever show you Toyota Supra 3D models. So this is gonna happen. Very low poly model. Not the best one I've made yet, but it'll do for this tutorial. 748 triangles. All your textures have to be pre-baked into one texture. This is not an issue for my car since I'm only using one texture anyways, which is the blueprint. So I actually use the blueprint and you remap the car onto it. I think that's a very underrated technique for texturing, but anyways, that's just my opinion. So yeah, just make sure that it's only one material and one texture. You can also click up here in the Blender file and your materials. Dot stroke doesn't really matter, but you should delete it anyways. So that's only one material in here. I always join all the objects into one. Just for convenience. I don't know if it's gonna do anything with the voxelizer we're gonna use later, but I'm just doing it every time with this conversion. And yeah, it's basically just personal preference. So you're gonna export this model as an OBJ wavefront file, and we're gonna head into the browser. Now we need this little website, which is once more linked in the description down below. This is the voxelizer tool that is basically doing all the magic work for us. Now I want my 3D model to be somewhat accurate, also in size, so I have this car spec site in here where we have the length of the car in centimeters. So what I do usually is that I take the length of the car divided by 10 and then multiply it with 4, and that's usually the amount of voxels I used. In this case, it's 166 voxels. So let's turn it up like this. Then you're gonna open your file. And then this is going to greet you right here. You need to have the texture, and this is what I was talking about earlier. It has to be a single texture, and there it is. That's your car. What I usually like to do is that I bump the shell thickness up. So it's basically the max. This is gonna fill out the entire car basically, and since I use shadows, I always turn this up to the max, since otherwise the shadows look a little bit buggy and I don't like that. So you have to turn this on, save as vox. Now we can save the car in here. Now for the next step we need Magica Voxel. Now we're gonna open the voxel file you just exported from the voxelizer tool, and there it is. Now you might see that this is divided into two chunks, and we don't really want that, since in Scratch it's usually better if you have one chunk instead of multiple. Just hit Ctrl A and press U. Boom, it's all in one chunk. Now you can export, bottom right corner, export this as a slice. This is going to be a PNG file. And now onto the next site. This is going to be the sprite cutter from easygif.com, and there you're gonna have to select your slice file and upload it. We're gonna see this beautiful PNG slice down here. Now in some cases your model might be facing the wrong way, which unfortunately did happen to this Honda S2000, so we're gonna flip it on the y-axis. Now you can export your PNG slice. And now we head onto this beautiful little site, which is once more linked in the description down below. And we're gonna upload our PNG slice file. As you can see, The car is facing upwards, as we can see from the mirrors. Select the cutting method by number of columns and rows. Set the columns to 1, and for the rows we need to go back to Magica Voxel real quick and check this last number here. This is going to be the height of the 3D model, so we need to copy and paste that in here. Now, output format, it doesn't really matter. Scratch supports all of them, but I'm going to go for PNG since it has the best quality. I'll click on cut. Now here are all the generated images we got here. Download the frames as the file. Now you need to extract the file. I'm going to use WinRAR for this. Now you should have all the PNG images in your file explorer. Now we just need to open Scratch. I'm using TurboWarp for this, which is just a GUI mod for Scratch with some extra features and stuff, and I think it's just a little more convenient to work with TurboWarp instead of normal Scratch. So I'm going to use it for this video. In here, we can upload all those images. Once importing has finished, we're going to delete the first costume since we don't need it. Now we need to create a forever loop. Now create a new custom block. Make sure it's running without screen refresh, which is the most important part about this. Then create a variable called I and set it to the first item of the car model height. Because we're only making it for one car, it can be very simple. And now we're pretty much done already. Now of course you might see these little artifacts on the windscreen and on the side windows of the car, but that is a pretty easy fix. And just like this, the artifacts are fixed. It's going to take a little bit more processing power, but not really a problem since this model is not very complicated. And there you have it. That's your imported 3D model in Scratch.